Are you a pro wrestling fan? Then odds are at some point in your life, you were a backyard wrestler. In this new series, I'm going to take you through how we came from this to this. It's a long story, covering nearly 2 decades. But if you're a nostalgic person missing the backyard days of yesteryear and a simpler time of the 90s and early 2000s, this is the story for you. This is Backyard Wrestling Cinema. Welcome to Backyard Wrestling Cinema Season 4, Episode 3. Over the last several weeks, the tapes had all begun with us just recording a bunch of nonsense, so nothing would get overridden on the tape. And the tradition had become that Cletus was just running up to people and hitting them in the You can see him start to approach people here, and people are covering up because they know what's about to come. Mahan was somebody who was there that day. He wrestled with us sometimes, but he was mostly there just to watch. So he had no idea what was coming. Yet somehow he was able to block it and knocked Cletus out with a slap. And for that to happen in front of a bunch of teenagers who were all friends, he didn't hear the end of that for weeks. We opened the show with TLD taking on myself for my XWA title. The last show, Bobby Bo had stolen the title from me, so I said I had a brand new one made, which meant I had spent several hours with electric tape and scissors. The match type was picked by me, and my thing at the time was I was a submissions wrestler, so naturally, guess what I picked? Falls count anywhere. No, I'm just kidding. It was a submissions match. At a certain point, the ref, who was my girlfriend at the time, got knocked out, and it allowed Christian Greed to come out. In the end, Bobby Bo came out, distracted me, and allowed TLD to get me in a submission, and it was a really awful looking one at that. And that gave him the win, and he was the new XWA champion.
Bo! Bobby Bo! Oh God, that's the wonder of blow! Oh, that hurts, man! Yeah,
that looks like it hurt a little bit.
Afterwards, Christian Greed would attack me and align himself with TLD, Bobby Bo, and the Beast, the new XWA.
A 4-on-1 attack! And there's pummeling! There's pummeling the living biscuit out of Denver Street!
During that whole attack, in a scene that we would joke about for years and years to come, in fact, it's something I still bring up from time to time, my former partner, Tommy Thunder, his music hit, and then he stood in the entranceway and just stood there. All the while, I'm getting beat up in the ring, and he's just waiting for the perfect moment. So when his music hits, he can look up and mean mug the camera, and then slowly start sauntering down to the ring. It was one of the funniest saves of all time, and it wasn't intentional by any means. Next up, TLD came out to do a promo, and we couldn't resist messing with him.
We have taken the hardcore belt.
When he finally was able to do the promo, he announced the new XWA Canadian title. This was the XWA's version of our US title. A decision match was announced featuring Bobby Bo taking on the Beast. In the end, Bobby Bo would get the win and was the new XWA Canadian champion.
He's over the punishment! He nailed it! From the top of the ladder, oh my God! 2, 3, it's over! We have a new XWA Canadian!
Next up was the debut of the Holy Rollers. It saw the debut of Minister Mark Moses, previously known as Mr. Benjamins, and the Prophecy Michael Green, previously known as Mumbles, and AJ Ice. The reason we changed their gimmicks is because it just felt like things were getting stale. Mumbles was relying on the same ha-ha gags week in and week out, and AJ Ice was not a favorite character of his. He just didn't want to do it. So we were trying to do something new and trying to build up our tag division once again so we could have tag titles again. Mr. Benjamins just felt like he was a carbon copy copy of what TJ Money was, and I think if he looked back at the shows, he would agree with that. This gave them a chance to take a break from those characters, do something new for a little bit, and then regroup and come back. And the Holy Rollers would take on the team of Mac and Cheese, which was myself as Denver Street and Tommy Thunder. And we had garbage picked a real table earlier in the day, and normally when we garbage picked a table, it was just sheetrock. But this was an actual table, and it was massive. So this was some prime garbage.
Tommy up! Hey!
After the whole table spot, the XWA came out, and it gave us the pleasure of seeing the worst four-way corner bump of all time. As we in the B4W mounted a comeback, Criminal Cage made his debut, formerly known as Rico DMF, and even the odds for the XWA.
Rico's going to take out the XWA! Rico has turned on the B4W!
Next up, the B4W United States title was on the line in a battle royal. During the match, TJ Money would quit B4W, but did so by cursing, despite us telling him it'd get censored and nobody would know why you quit. But he did it anyway, and that's why it didn't really work.
I'll never get a chance around here. So you know what?
He said, God darn chance.
TJ Money.
Well, I think TJ Money just quit.
In the end, the Prophecy won the U.S. title by using the Holy Spirit.
Stupid. What is this?
We wanted to show the Holy Rollers that we were committed to their gimmicks if they were committed. So we let them kind of stand their own against what we considered our best team at the time, Mac and Cheese. And then we put our secondary championship, the U.S. title, on the Prophecy Michael Green to show them, hey, we're ready to make this thing a success, so just please give it 100%. But it wasn't to last. We had 3 new gimmicks on this show that was a direct result of me feeling like the show was missing something the last several weeks. But somehow it still was missing something here. And we hadn't figured out the key ingredient we were missing, and it was those backstage promos and vignettes and the way you really get to learn what a character's all about. Looking back, it was just such a fun time. And all of this was taking place while myself and Tommy Thunder were training 3 times a week for pro wrestling, and we had just had some of our first matches. There weren't enough hours in the day for me to do wrestling-related activities, so you can imagine this was absolutely the time of my life. The XWA angle is just getting started, and things were about to change in B4W forever. That's all for this week. We'll see you next time right here on Backyard Wrestling Cinema.
The man of a million man is eliminated! Oh my God! Little Don Ron, the man of a million now, has been... Right now. Take him up and play! With that unique submission hold on Cletus. Cletus returning.